Welcome again. This is our third tutorial. Like I said in our second tutorial, when these classes were generated, there is something that IDE did not put in, and you will probably find it the same in your in your in your in your example. First thing first, what I want to do so that for new users especially, so that you don't get confused by the big decimal, I'm going to convert the big decimal um, into an integer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to an integer. So I have to change this into an integer as well, and I'm going to change this to an integer and this to an integer. Okay, that is the first thing we're going to do. We're going to change. You can change in all the other classes, but we are using these users class, so I'm going to change this one only. Now the second thing I want to do is to remove the ID from these parameters, because the ID will be auto generated, because the ID is actually a primary key, and probably you're not putting in the ID. You want the database engine to by default put in an ID. Now what I'm going to do in this tag, I'm going to, in the ID, after the ID tag, I'm going to add another one. Just add in your generated value. So we're going to add an import from a persistence. So I'm going to import javax.persistent.generated value. Now what this means is that anytime I want to insert data into this table, the ID should not be part of parameters, otherwise it's going to be auto generated. Now there are other options you can check in some other tutorials, but in this one you're going to use the default value. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create a Hibernate sequence in my database. By default, Hibernate looks for a Hibernate sequence in a database. So what I'm going to do in my Oracle database, I'm going to create the sequence. So we are going to create sequence. I'm going to name it Hibernate sequence. So what the Hibernate engine, it looks for a sequence which has that name, and that is what it uses to generate the ID. So I'm going to create the sequence. I'm going to start with 1, auto increment, and increment by 1, not auto increment, increment. Okay, that's it. And the sequence, Hibernate sequence, has been created. So our generated value will always be calling by default. It calls that Hibernate sequence. That's it. You can now change the other classes and map them. So I'm going to change one more so that you can follow. Probably didn't follow in the first one. So my ID again, I'm going to change it to an integer. It's not necessary, but you change it to an integer. I'm going to remove it from my parameters, because I want it auto generated. Okay, I'm going to add a generated value. I'm going to change this to an integer. I'm going to change this to an integer. Okay, good. So you do that to your other classes, like these, the change the booking and all those things. So for me, for now, I'm going to change, just for this tutorial, I'm going to change those two. And now, so far we have mapped our database tables to our classes, and we have the correct configuration. Now we are at a good point now to start writing some code. So far we have not written a lot of code. We have actually not written anything. We have all had generated code by the IDE, but it comes to the point where now you have to start writing the code. We are going to create the login page, and we are going to log in to validate information from the database using Hibernate in our next tutorial. So don't go away. I will be there to direct you, to guide you through, and I hope you will enjoy it. I know you're enjoying it. So nice time, and see you in the next tutorial.